Welcome to Allie's Attic, where you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. I'm your host, Allie, and today my surprise is a lady from a band that is Americana and absolutely wonderful. Please welcome Deborah Crooks. Hello, Deborah.
Hi, Allie. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Thank you, thank you. So, okay, I've listened to you. I love you. I'm the one that sought you out and asked you to come on the show, and I absolutely love your voice, and I love everybody else that's in the band. So first off, tell me who else is in the band and what they do.
Um, the the co-founder with me is Kwame Copeland, and he plays guitar and sings and has co-written all the music with me.
Okay.
And then we have Steve Waters, who plays additional guitar. He's doing both of those guys do lead parts, but Steve does a lot of the lead electric guitar and sings backup. And then we have Chris Veenstra on bass. He's new to our band this year. And then Mike Stevens on drums, and he has co-produced all the recordings we've done as well.
Okay. What's a dobro? Dobro. I'm probably saying
a dobro. That's Kwame's instrument. One of his instruments. That is it's kind of like a lap steel, but it's basically a resonator guitar that sits on your lap.
Okay.
And you play with a slide.
Okay.
And it's like you play with a metal slide. So it has to me, it has a kind of lonesome, twangy sound. It's very common in bluegrass.
Ah.
And adds a different voicing to the proceedings. But it's played like on your lap, or if you have a strap, you're kind of holding it, so it's like it was on like a concessioner's like tray.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
It's like picked and slides, but you slides and picks.
Alrighty. Okay, I just wanted to know because I saw that and I'm like, what is that? But now I know. So basically, Deborah, how long, when did you decide this is what I'm going to do?
Oh, well, Base Station is kind of this actual hybrid of Kwame and myself, and that we've both been songwriters for many years. And so if we're just speaking about Base Station, Kwame and I actually got married. He was after many years of knowing each other and all that. But when we got together, we both have our own kind of existing bodies of songwriterly work, and we should try to write together, see if our egos can handle it. So we kind of did it on a kind of a bit of a dare, like almost 5 years ago, and we liked what we did, so we started recording it. And so Base Station is one of our projects, but then we changed the name to Base Station because that's where we live, which is kind of on the island of Alameda, California, which is right on the San Francisco Bay. But I would say that for myself, I've been a writer my whole life, and I'd like to sing my whole life, but I didn't really get the guts to do it until about 20 years ago. And I was like, I'd gone through a bad period, and I was just like, I have nothing to lose. I'm going to write and sing songs. And then Kwame, everybody else has been playing, from most of their lives, really. Everybody's been a creative most of their lives. And Kwame's playing guitar since he's 12, and writing songs. And Steve, similar. And Chris, his dad's a musician as well. And Mike's been playing drums since he was a little kid. So everybody's pretty much been doing it by hook or by crook. No pun on my last name. For their lives. And that's, there's a line in a Gillian Welch song, they're going to do it anyway, even if it doesn't pay. And that's kind of, I think that's how we all are.
Yeah.
It pays some, but I mean, I think we've done it. We do it. It's not. It's just what we do. And now it's just so built into everybody's lives. I think we don't even question it.
Yeah. Well, that's a good saying, because in indie music, a lot of the bands and artists don't make a lot of money. And I don't think people realize that. They think, well, you're singing, you've got songs out on SoundCloud and Spotify and iTunes, you're making it, no, that's not what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. I mean, that's the great thing, is that there's so many tools available for you to make it. And I don't know. I mean, I think I tend to be optimistic about it, if realistic about the whole being a creative person. Because the only way, you have to do it to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to go through many ups and downs, and you have to suck for a while, and you have to just trust. And it seems like if I ever since I decided I'm going to write a thing, I always got the next step, and so that kept me going, even when it was like it didn't really make a lot of sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Base Station's really fun. I mean, everybody right now in the band, with the exception of the drummer, lives very close to one another, and it's kind of it's a different animal, Kwame and I think, than what we do on our own. It's definitely related, but it's it's a chance to express a little differently, and even there's a couple songs on the new record that I know I wouldn't have come up with on my own.
Let's talk about. Okay,
but
so
I like them, and I really like.
Yeah, I like the song. Yeah,
it's almost like a different. It's not. It's like it's not a totally different persona. It's not like I'm,
somebody else. Yeah,
like but it's a certain. It's a different. I can get to be a different, expressed differently.
Now, talking about expressing yourself, I love the way you write songs. We're going to talk about the third studio recording, Other Desert Cities.
Other Desert Cities, which is coming out next month.
Yes, next month, April 27th, 2018. Now, like you said, you live in Alameda in California, but this, you guys kind of sought inspiration in the Mojave Desert.
Yeah, I used to go down to Joshua Tree in college many years ago, and we just enjoyed going on there on vacation. It's kind of an equal and opposite beautiful place in California to go to. I mean, here we live right by the San Francisco Bay. Kwame has a sailboat. We sail. And the desert's it's a completely different landscape. And so what we've done for the past several years is gone down for like a week at a time and just wrote like every day, gotten up and written songs. And so we kind of culled what we thought were the best, or the keepers, so to speak, of those writing kind of self-made writing retreats, and made it the theme of our record. So that's why it's called Other Desert Cities. Mm-hmm. And some of the songs are inspired literally by that area. Some were, we did a cross-country tour a couple of years ago after our last record, going through the Southwest especially, just inspired, like the song Everybody's Business. And it was kind of fun to have a theme to it. So that was a different process of writing, even like, not writing from my own self, so to speak, but thinking from the point of view of different characters. Yeah,
like you talk about the animal and human and the distinctly American stories of desert denizens. You talk all about the 10 songs that are on this album are all about that, and you can hear it. They're amazing. I absolutely love them. Now,
thank you.
You're welcome. Now we'll mention your first two. Your Own Reaction came out in 2014 under your former name, KCDC, and also Go Out and Make Some, 2016, and that reflected the coastal landscape of your home in Alameda, California. So people can look for those two CDs as well. But I'm so excited that you're on before the release of this CD, EP. I keep calling them CDs. I don't know if they're called that anymore. I might be aging myself.
I call it a record because it's a recording.
Yeah, right?
And then there will be CDs, but obviously many people are going to be ingesting it online.
Yeah.
All are, everything. I mean, both Your Own Reaction under KCDC, because we named, when we first wrote together, we just thought, we'll use our initials, it'll be kind of funny, haha. But then people thought we were like a AC/DC cover band, and we're so not. It just wasn't going to go far unless you knew us very closely.
That's the first thing I thought of, yeah.
So we changed it. Once we realized that we were going to do more together, we decided to call it Base Station. And that's completely more accurate in all sorts of ways. So Your Own Reaction, that was kind of our first experiment in co-writing, and we liked it. We had fun. So then we did another one, Go Out and Make Some. That's when we changed our name and got a little bit more directed and then other desert cities came about from all this time in and around Joshua Tree. So yeah, I think it's fun. I love it's fun. It's a fun process. It's a different process co-leading a band and a project.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all good. Pretty much, it all develops and stretches you as an artist.
Definitely. Now,
So,
I'm very much into nature. I'm from a small town. I grew up in the bush.
mm,
I love animals, and a lot of the album's tracks depict the imagined lives of desert dwellers, from wild coyotes and survivors of building fire to road tripping visitors. Sleeping Hard, Waking Slow is one of the songs we're going to hear. Talk about that song.
well, that's the example that I think. Like, I think you can. It's to me definitely. I was when I sat down to write. I do basically most of the lyrics, and Kwame does most of the music on the projects we do together.
Mm-hmm.
And then that writing day, we were in Joshua Tree, and I'm like, I'm gonna just try something from a different perspective. And first of all, there's coyotes all over the place, and then second of all, a lot of people have dogs. So, and then when you go to the desert, and as you probably know, there's you're going to watch out for the tortoises, and you have to be careful about not leaving your doors open in case snakes or scorpions want to crawl in. And, so I think I just allowed myself to imagine the different perspectives of some of those creatures, and it can go both ways, but. And also, I was really, interested sometimes. I think I was dreaming a lot that week, and how dreams are such a whole other altered reality.
Mm-hmm.
What's really going on in our dream life? I don't really know,
Yeah.
But how sometimes they could be so vivid, and sometimes they can be so meaningful, even though they don't really have too much basis in your physical reality. So I was all those things were swirling around in my head, and I think I'd just seen Nico Case play, and she's got a lot of really, I don't have a specific song in mind, but she's someone who really has some interesting lyrics that aren't necessarily straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
So the narrative for Sleeping Hard, Waking Slow, all this landscape was kind of, and the animals were feeding into that. Some dreams I'd had that I was thinking about the connections. What's going on in my dreams? Who are these characters? What are we? Is this just something my brain's just firing off its imagination, or what? And then also the election was happening had just happened.
Oh yeah.
And so the whole concept of sleeping hard, waking slow, like, what does it take to wake up? Whether you're a creature that's sleeping in the middle, trying to stay warm in the night, or you're dreaming in your dream life and you're trying to wake up and get going. You've got your head full of this wacky dream, and then here is the country, our country, not your country.
No, not mine. but he does reach far. Trust me, it's affecting my country too. But go on.
Yeah, I know. But just like, whoa, what's going on? And then I live in California. We live in California. I grew up in California, so we have this whole pretty progressive world around us that I've just kind of grown up with without even being particularly radical in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've kind of always had a certain sensibility that I always get reminded, not everybody is tolerant of people's differences. So just like, what does it take to wake up? And so that was like that, everything, all the different various influences informing that song.
Well, you know what?
You can take it on any level.
Any way you want. Yeah, exactly. And that's the great thing about songs. It relates to something in your life that might not be exactly why you wrote it. But I like that you talked about the election happening, because I think a lot of people were asleep and they got woke up pretty darn quick. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and that was even most of the people I know thinking that we were pretty woke, and we really weren't.
Yeah, exactly.
So we are waking up really quick.
Yeah, especially if you're on
very troubling.
Twitter.
And,
anyway,
and also motivating. So,
yeah, exactly.
All that.
Now, Look, Don't Touch. It's a straight ahead rock song depicting the life of a stripper working at an adult entertainment store. We'll go through that one quick.
Stripper, just for the records.
Yes, Deborah has never been a stripper. Just everybody, so you know. Everybody's going to be going to YouTube and try to find you now.
No, yeah, no,
No,
that's
she's
not
never
me.
been a stripper.
But
It's just her perspective.
well, yeah, that was pretty funny. That's what I mean about being influenced by your environment and why it's good to get away. We were just driving through Yucca Valley, I think, and there was literally somebody waving a sign for an adult store slash club. And so I was like, wow, what would it be like to be the person who's going to work there? You know? So, again, and that's a fun song. It's definitely the most rock on the record.
It is, yeah. It's a great song. I love.
It's actually not the most rock on the record, but it's one of the more rock ones. So.
Now, Sands of Time doubles down on a reoccurring theme of timelessness over a dance-worthy samba-inspired beat. And you assume the narrative voice in turns affectionate, inclusive, and communal, and mournful. Yeah, it's really nice. Sands of Time. It was different. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, it's a fun one. It makes people dance.
Yeah.
It's one of our dance numbers on there. I think I wasn't trying to be, but the drummer on the record, Mike, who we worked with a lot, he's just a great drummer, and he just put this fun, like you say, it's more samba-y, kind of Latin beat on it, and so that's what took it more in that direction. But the lyrics, I think it's really a love song. I think. I think if I specialize anything, it's after Hard Knocks love songs.
There you go. Now, also, okay, so Everybody's Business you talked about a bit, and then there's the mournful Trickster Moon, which is very beautiful. To talk a little bit about that. Like, I love the title of it, period, but it's a great song.
Well, Trickster Moon, that was one of the first desert songs when we started going back to the Joshua Tree area, and I'd been there a lot in college, and I'd been there with a very dear friend of mine, Samantha, and she was kind of like my wild, wise older sister, even though she was not really older than me, and she was not my real sister, but she was just that friend who was just full of life and took a lot of big risks, not with drugs or alcohol, but just with her love life. And she really just but was also very down to earth and completely grounded about people. And she passed away. She got breast cancer and passed away. It was one of my first, peers one of my first peers that close friends that I lost. And so
sorry for your loss, Deborah.
Some years since that she had passed when I was in Joshua Tree writing, but that song I think really is about her in a lot of ways, and how she was such a bright, she wasn't a moon, she was a bright star, but just how you can have these bright lights in your life that are so important to you, but they are gone, quickly. And what it's kind of like the dream world. It's kind of like who stays and who doesn't, but how impressionable they can be. And I think that's how the moon is. It can be, you can have moonless nights and nights where it's bright out because there's a huge moon, and it's such a changeable presence in our environment. And of course, is inspired how many songs? I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh gosh, yeah, so many. Now, Base Station Wiggle. Talk about that.
The Wiggle. Yes, the Wiggle was, we didn't think the Wiggle was going to live. But the Wiggle, like now, many of our shows, like we just played this weekend, and the wiggle. Actually, both shows we played this weekend, people were wiggling at the end of the show. um,
Nice.
so the wiggle actually came about on that cross country trip we'd taken. Because if you're touring, you are in the car a lot.
Mm-hmm,
And
yeah.
I'd get out of the car, and I'm like, okay, gotta wiggle, because you want to get some like circulation in your butt, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we were riding, and we'd driven down to Joshua Tree. It's a long drive, and I'm like, oh, we should write a song, Wiggle. So Kwame just played that guitar lick, and we did it as a joke. And then I think we got home and we had a house party. And our parties, we end up usually having a bunch of musicians here around and playing music. And
Mm-hmm.
we played Wiggle, and everybody completely lit up and was dancing around the living room. And so we're like, wow, the Wiggle, So we started playing it, even though we didn't think we'd ever play it out of the house. And even though it's completely simple in a lot of ways, it could be it's not really a kid song,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like a silly, flirty, could be a kid song. But and it's of course fun for the guys to completely go to town on their guitars.
Yeah, and cut loose. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of more
cool.
like Chuck Berry surf rock.
Yeah, exactly.
In all the breaks, if you're at a live show when the guitars are going wild and I'm not singing, that's when everybody's cued to wiggle. So now, we try to get people to wiggle at most shows.
That would be so cool. I want to come see you now. Okay, that would be so fun. Okay, so you've been doing this for a while, and Kwame as well. Now, if you had any advice to give any kind of like any new artist that was just starting out or anybody that's already in the indie industry, from what you've learned so far, what kind of advice would you give them, Deborah?
Well, I think that the first thing is to I don't know about industry, but I mean, don't if you have the desire to play music and write songs, of course do it. And I think that the best thing I did was that I moved to an area. I think I moved into San Francisco, and went to open mics, and I joined a song group, and I found people that were like me, that were really into it. And in fact, that's how I met Kwame. We were in a songwriting group together, and there's this cafe. I'm actually playing there this weekend. The Bizarre Cafe in San Francisco. It's an all acoustic, just of your everyday neighborhood cafe, but they have an open mic that pretty much is almost like a finishing school for songwriters,
Mm-hmm.
in San Francisco. And it's, become part of a community and be active in your community. If you're kind of complaining about you don't have shows, make a show, invite other artists to play, other artists, playing with other artists, listening to other artists, is going to make you better.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're also going to find your people like that kind of you have similar sensibilities, and just kind of stay active. And then the other, as far as developing your craft, and then the other thing is just that I think both, probably everybody in my band, I know for sure me and Kwame have definitely gone through complete starving artist times.
Yeah.
Where we maybe weren't being that realistic. But maybe that was a good phase to go to too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really about like not overreaching now. Like at times when like when I got cleared up any debt I had, that was the biggest thing, and that debt came from those starving artist periods where I ran on my credit card, and I think, and so now I'm just like, keep it real. You can always find a place to play.
Mm-hmm.
I think that and we all want our big break, and we all want to be known, and we all want to make $1 million off of our art. I'm not saying that dream doesn't still live in a part of my heart, and I'm so after years of doing this, so much of my life that is in enriched because of being a musician, by other artists, by the whole process of it, by how it makes you a better person too. I think go after your art and put it out there and be humbled and But I think just being active in your community, being kind, and and then also just being realistic about your money. Because you can always find time to write.
Yeah.
Even if you are working some job you really don't like. But if you're fed and have a roof over your head, you're way more creative.
Exactly, yeah.
And you're gonna write other things besides about your suffering.
Or craft dinner, or, yeah.
No one wants to listen to you.
Oh, that's such a good point. Okay, so the two songs we're going to hear, we already talked about Sleeping Hard, Waking Slow. We're also going to hear Fire Song, which I think is...
Fire Song was written, that was inspired... do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, definitely, yes. No, please don't.
In Joshua Tree, there's somebody who publishes this awesome little magazine. I think it's a quarterly. I just read an article about it today called The Desert Oracle. It's a great little publication, and I'm a big fan of print, even though print is, is archaic to a lot of people. And it had a story. We were down in Joshua Tree, and I got the Desert Oracle, and I was reading through it, and there was a story about a fire in Marfa, Texas. So I'm like, that's a great story. So I wrote those lyrics based on imagining I was in that house fire.
Oh.
And I loved the music that Kwame made for that, and and then of course we recorded it probably about a year ago. It got recorded, and then since that time, California was on fire for so much of the past 6 months. Mm-hmm. And so it's really kind of like, now it feels like, it's really a universal song about living through a fire and starting your life over. And again, it's that School of Hard Knocks love song.
Yeah, exactly. It's beautiful. And I like the premise really behind it.
But that's where that came from. And it's definitely more of a ballad. And our friend Michael McNevin, who he lives south of us about a half hour, but he's a great songwriter. He played guitar on it, and we just had fun recording it. And I'm really happy with how that song turned out.
Awesome.
Actually, it's one of my favorite songs on the record.
Okay, cool. Okay, so this album, Other Desert Cities, is coming out April 27th, 2018. Be watching for it. Deborah, just send me a message just so I can talk about it on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram when it comes out. I am so happy you came on before it came out so we can kind of like get people hyped up about it, because it's I love the songs that you sent me. They're absolutely beautiful. I love that you wrote about nature and the Mojave Desert. I've never been, but just I want to go now. So I'm going to, your two songs are going to be up on my site. The two songs that are going to be coming out on that EP, and your website's also going to be up there. You can purchase Bay Station Band's music online, and you can also go to their website, which is baystationband.com. It's going to be up on my website, linked directly to theirs. You just click on it and you go right to them. You can listen to their music and all kinds of, you can find out even more stuff about them. And Deborah, this is like, I love talking to you. You can hear your smile throughout the entire interview. You can tell you were smiling. I love it. So thank you.
Thanks, Allie.
You're welcome. And thank you so much for coming on. And don't be a stranger. Anything new happens, you're more than welcome to come on. If you want to, if you're going to release another new single, you can send it to me and I'll throw it up on my Allie's Odds and Ends on my website and promote the heck out of it for you. And you start winning awards and you get that $1 million. Don't forget about me.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for coming on and say hello to Kwame. And you guys, I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks so much, Allie.
And thank you for joining me on Allie's Attic. Keep checking my website because you never know what kind of surprises you'll find in my attic. Cheers.